All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Catherine. Welcome back to Collaboration Summit. We're so excited that you're all here for night two, or if you didn't make it last night, that you're here. We have a really awesome night for all of you tonight. It's all about looking at your problems differently, thinking, how can you think differently? How can we make change in this very different world that we're all in right now? And I won't take too much of your time, but I just wanted to give you a bit of a heads up. We are recording the session, like I mentioned earlier, and we will share the recording with you all after the session. So no worries if you miss something or if you need to leave. Awesome. So over to Claymon and Mazdak.
Great. And just before I launch in, I'll just invite those who aren't speaking just to turn off your mute mics so we have the best sound quality. And on this, I am so happy that you're all present with us tonight for this very first Pan-Canadian Collaboration Summit. Last night, we had a blast with those who were there. I'm seeing lots of smiles. Tonight, we hope our plan is going to be just as fun for all of you. Very briefly, I'm Clement. I'm faculty advisor at Sherbrooke University, going into my third year. And personally, I believe that more than anything I can do, if I can empower 10, if I can empower 100, if I can empower 1,000 people to create the change they want to see in the world, it's going to have a much greater impact than anything I could do. And that is what brought me to do research on change-making education. That's what brought me to where I am today, collaborating with Enactus Canada. And I'm extremely thrilled about these leadership development workshops, which are truly opportunities for you to become the person you want to be and to create the change you want to create. And tonight, I'm extremely thrilled also to be working with one incredible individual called Mazdak, a dear friend of mine, as someone who has so many tricks in his sleeve, you can't even count on all those tricks. But trust me, at the beginning, you might say, where is he bringing us? But trust me, at the end of the workshop, you'll say, oh, that's where he brought us, and it will have been quite a journey. So on that, Mazdak, I'll let yourself introduce yourself.
Sure, thank you so much for that gracious introduction. Thank you so much, Catherine, for having us. So my name is Mazdak. I am in Montreal, and my mission is to connect people to their positive impact so that they can create an ideal and joyful life for themselves. Me, I come from a background of IT engineering, did many years of project management and change management. Then I went through a transformation and I got really passionate about coaching young entrepreneurs to partner with them and to co-create a roadmap as they design their ideal life and their ideal businesses. And that brought me with the Changemaker residency to no one other than Mr. Clement. And we hit it off. We are aligned on the vision and mission and passions. And more importantly, Clement is someone that doesn't cease to inspire me. And he pushes me, and we decided to collaborate and partner and work together. And he has so many wonderful collaborative ideas and tools and activities in his toolbox that is wonderful to work with him. So just going quickly over some of the intentions for today's workshop. And like always, given the current situation, the COVID situation, so we really want you to meet and interact with other members in other Enactus clubs, to build these relationships, to get support, to be connected. We want you to build on your confidence and your resilience, and to find creative ways to see and solve problems. A little bit about the safe space. It's going to be a safest space today. It's going to be very interactive. All ideas are welcome. There's no judgment. Everybody is respected, and let's be in curiosity and learning for the purpose of today. On that note, I'll let Clement talk a little bit about falling in love with our problems.
Yeah, I just want to say that before this workshop, I went on a little walk to get in the zone, and I was thinking, man, it's so ironic that 70 to 70 some students have signed up for a workshop that's called Falling in Love with Your Problem. So I don't know if it's because you're all people who have a lot of problem, or if you're people who are problemless and are seeking problems to fall in love with. But I am extremely thrilled that you came. And if we place that quote in context, I'll share it in the chat too. But this is a saying from Daniela Pappy Thornton, one of the greatest social entrepreneur educator in the States, who said, don't fall in love with your solution idea, fall in love with your problem. And the reason why she says that is she says too many entrepreneurs are stuck up with their first solution idea and are trying to push their solution onto the world. Whereas if entrepreneurs were truly tied and were truly connected to the problem they wanted to solve and would take time to understand those problems, only then could they lead much more meaningful change. So tonight is about that. It's about leading meaningful change. And for that, it really takes understanding your problem, even whether they're personal problem, interpersonal problem in your team, communication problem, or greater problems that you're trying to solve, complex problems that you're trying to solve across the world. And so we're going to be showing you a few different tools tonight, and more than anything, it's going to be a space to share, to interact. Most people would say we're crazy to do an interactive workshop with so many people, but it worked last night, and I think the only reason it works is because you're Enactus team members, you're passionate leaders, and you have everything it takes to make it a great one, because everything you give is what you're going to get out of the workshop tonight. So back to Mazdak.
Yeah. So on that note, let's jump into our first activity, the Icebreaker, which is going to be a little bit like a speed zooming as well. So we're going to send you with a question, and we're going to put you in groups of 2, and you have a couple of minutes to discuss that. So let's go with the first question. So based on the work we did last night, with your partner, share your inner leader's metaphor. So some of the imagery, some of the metaphors that came for you. And if you were not here last night, no problem. If you had an inner leader, what would they look like? What image comes to you when you say inner leader? Okay, so we're gonna put you in breakout rooms.
So everyone clear? So you're simply 2-minute sharing on whatever image comes to mind when you think about your inner leader. So you should have received right now an invitation.
Well, let's go to our last one. Okay, what is the change that you want to create in this world?
This
is a good one.
This would be your last opportunity to share. Same drill is on. I've just sent the invites. Right in to the first activity on reframing problems.
Yeah. So we've got a problem. We're like, why not jumping into solutions?
Sorry, Mazdak, you're mute, and it's my fault.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Awesome. Okay. So you said, we got a problem. Why not jumping into solutions then? So let's watch a video together, and we'll have a discussion around that.
All right. So just doing the screen share. Can I have thumbs up if you can see my screen? If I have a thumbs up, share this now.
In the 1950s, the Dayak people of Borneo, an island in Southeast Asia, were suffering from an outbreak of malaria, so they called the World Health Organization for help. The World Health Organization had a ready-made solution, which was to spray copious amounts of DDT around the island. With the application of DDT, the mosquitoes that carried the malaria were knocked down, and so was the malaria. There were some interesting side effects, though. The first was that the roofs of people's houses began to collapse on their heads. Turns out the DDT not only killed off the malaria-carrying mosquitoes, but it also killed a species of parasitic wasps that had controlled a population of thatch-eating caterpillars, thatch being what the roofs of the Dayak people's homes were made from. Without the wasps, the caterpillars multiplied and flourished and began munching their way through the villagers' roofs. That was just the beginning. The DDT affected a lot of the island's other insects, which were eaten by the resident population of small lizards called geckos. The biological half-life of DDT is around 8 years, so animals like geckos do not metabolize it very fast. It stays in their system for a long time. Over time, the geckos began to accumulate pretty high levels of DDT, and while they tolerated the DDT fairly well, the island's resident cats, which dined on the geckos, did not. The cats ate the geckos, and the DDT contained in the geckos killed the cats. With the cats gone, the island's population of rats came out to play. We all know what happens when rats multiply and flourish. Pretty soon, the Dayak people were back on the phone to the World Health Organization, only this time it wasn't malaria that was the problem. It was the plague and the destruction of their grain stores, both of which were caused by the overpopulation of rats. This time, though, the World Health Organization didn't have a ready-made solution and had to invent one. What did they do? They decided to parachute live cats into Borneo. Operation Cat Drop occurred courtesy of the Royal Air Force and eventually stabilized the situation.
Great. So, what do you guys think? And feel free to unmute yourself or feel free to write in the chat box.
We'd love to hear a few people's voice.
Yeah.
I have a comment.
No, go ahead, Sonia.
So one of the things I saw from the video is the World Health Organization, they didn't like actually try to figure out what the problem was. They kind of just like jumped to a solution, and instead it caused a ripple effect and created more problems. So now instead of saving time, saving money, and saving energy, they just made matters more for themselves. And if it wasn't for the cats, who knows what else could have happened.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah, and adding on that, what the World Health Organization did, that's just a quick and easy solution, where the alternative would be to think everything through and think out the repercussions of all these events or what was going to happen. So just if they want to do the quick and easy thing, would just be to introduce a quick, easy solution that they think, as opposed to having a longer process.
Yeah. So what are some issues with quick fix solutions?
Yeah, so for me, what WHO missed was really a root cause analysis of the problem. The initial RCA was missing. That's why this lead to a dominance effect of the problem. So if they would have done a root cause analysis, then yeah, the situation would have been different.
Yeah.
I think a good point to mention in the video, they said that they had a ready-made solution. So this might have been a solution that they used somewhere else in the world that worked really well, and they tried to stick it in this area, and it turns out they have roofs made of thatch. So, it worked really well somewhere else, but in this area it has different, factors, so it didn't work well. So instead of adapting the solution to a new problem, they used something that was applied somewhere else that was successful.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's hear one more.
Off, but my mic's back on. Okay, so yeah, it's like for me, it's kind of like for everyone here, it's basically before even solving a solution, it's basically look back and see like anything that could affect like different scenarios, and like it could have setbacks on things on the solution you're trying to do. So basically, just even like solution sounds great, but like take your time and just like look back and see like what other problems that like it could occur, and see if you could actually avoid those kind of problems.
Beautiful.
What it is.
Thank you for sharing. Absolutely. So yeah, one of the issues is sometimes we get to that expert mode. I know best. I know right on the solution, and you're gonna like go with that. There are dangers with that. Getting to action too fast and not involving the right people will get you to not solve the right problems. And our friend was mentioning here, what are all the effects? What are all the angles? Have we looked all of that? You need to bring the people in and get different angles and different perspectives. And sometimes, very important, is that we get so attached to the problem emotionally that we cannot think straight and we go right into solutioning. Let me give you guys a real life example. So there was this hotel with elevators. So this big hotel with a lot of elevators. There were a lot of complaints from the people that the elevators are too slow. So right away, the managers and talk to the facility manager and stuff. Oh, you know what? We need to change the engine and bring a modern elevator and get, the shaft changes and stuff like that. So they were really fast into solution. But luckily, they asked a outside perspective, a consultant, and what he found out is that it's not that the elevators that's slow that people don't like, it's that people don't like to wait for elevators to come. And people don't like to wait too long inside of the elevator. So he did a couple of quick things. He put a mirror inside of the elevator. He put some magazines where people waited for the elevator, a phone, and this infecting thing that was even before the COVID. And then the complaints went away completely because now people had something to get busy, to look at themselves in the mirror and stuff, and didn't feel that burden of the weight. So on that, let's segue and transition to a citation to a quote from Albert Einstein. Just give you a second to read that.
And for those who are there by phone, I'm also going to read it out loud. So Albert Einstein said, if I had an hour to solve a problem, I'd spend 55 minutes thinking about the problem and 5 minutes thinking about the solution. And it gets right to the point. And I know initially you're probably all thinking, yeah, but my Enactus team is different. The way I deal with my problem is different. But tonight we're going to dare have you remain open-minded as we carry you through an example, and we're basically all going to work on problem reframing together.
So why problem reframing? Why not other ways of attacking that? It's simple. You don't want to be that band-aid solution, that we saw in the video. Rather, you want to be the one that brings and have this meaningful impact, that brings real positive change. Also, you don't want to be that, I know it all and boom. You want to be this person in a creative and iterative process that, I put a little bit of solution, I get feedback, I adjust, trial, error, and most importantly, you want to involve people. You want to tap into as many creativity and wisdom collectively and collaboratively, so you get to something that is viable, that is good, that is positive, and problem reframing steps and methodology will give you that. Problem reframing is the process of looking at the same problem from different perspectives and different angles, engaging the right people, asking the right questions, and reshaping the problem to something that we can really fall in love with that. And as our friends mentioned earlier, to understand that problems might have multiple root causes. Have we looked in all of that? And also, there's not only one solution, maybe there are different ways that a problem can be addressed.
And tonight, to explore problem reframing together, we're going to try to tackle a problem that probably many of your Enactus Club have been facing. And we're going to use as a case study the problem of Enactus Club or Enactus teams trying to recruit new members. And so a lot of us, at the end of September is the month that we were supposed to recruit a bunch of other members to our team. Some of you might have been more successful. Others might still have some executives who are aren't fully seated, we could say. And you might have a team that is incomplete, or you might have some of your projects that are still trying to find that person that can help them with communication and so on. And so it's a complex problem that many of you or us will face. And we're going to use that as our case study today as we walk through different activities. But all of these activities it's a mindset behind it that you can transfer to the way you solve your own personal problem, your family problems, just as much as your greater project and ambition problems.
So we have a problem. We're struggling to recruit new members. Ready to go through the steps? Great. So the first step is your mindset check. So you're gonna go and check in with yourself. With what lens am I looking to this problem? What are some of the emotions that come to me when I hear this problem? Fear, stress, I can't do it. Am I open? Am I open to different ways? How attached am I to this problem? I'm gonna give you a couple of minutes to check in with yourself, with your mindset. What are some of the initial emotions, initial lens?
We'd love to hear a few voices, or feel free also to write in the chat.
I would say some first emotions that come is kind of like a loss of hope. Kind of you're frustrated. You're if you kind of bring it to yourself, like have I done something that people don't want to join? That might be the first instinct some people have.
Yeah.
I think there's also the sense of feeling like you failed if you can't recruit people to your team. Like, am I a bad president because I don't have that many members?
From my personal end, I feel pressured because I'm getting a message from project managers saying, I don't know where my team is. I made a meeting and nobody showed up to this meeting. Like, where are the people? And I'm like, we're trying to find some. Don't worry.
Yeah. Let's hear a couple of more.
Uncertainty and caution when moving forward with maybe some pre-existing projects or like development of new ideas. You're unsure if you're going to have like the manpower and the bodies to fill in those project teams to make sure you meet those goals you've set out for those projects.
Yeah.
I think this also serves to further amplify just feeling so isolated. Or we could go to an open house and at least, see like-minded, excited individuals and be able to even sell your own narrative. It's just so hard to connect now, despite the fact we're all digitally accessible.
Yeah.
Zoom screens anymore.
Yes, yes. So are you guys ready to shift the mindset? Something that serves us. Okay, so everybody take a deep breath. Now visualize as if the problem was solved, as if the solution was in place. Connect with your inner leader. What is some of wisdom? What are some of the emotions? What are they offering you? What if you said, I'm gonna look at this problem as an opportunity to be creative? How about looking this as something that has endless possibilities? What if I look with love and empathy to myself, if I'm the president, but also to whoever that is impacted? And how might I be feeling when I got to resolve the problem and create these opportunities? Anybody want to share about the shift? Did that work for them? Did that not work for them?
It worked for me. So I started becoming more excited about this or the problem, or kind of like helping these people and really making an impact for them. So it really got me excited to keep at it, and when I get back to really give it another shot if I ever feel down once again.
Thank you.
I think one of the things for me is that when you are looking towards kind of all those things that are coming in the future, when you do resolve the problem and you do see how much of a reward you're getting from this, finally finding that solution, that it makes it all worth it. So that if I know when I'm ever in a position where I'm feeling kind of disappointed with the outcome of what's going on or the problem I can't figure out, just thinking about that future and how pleased I'm going to be with the results eventually just drives that motivation to keep going.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful.
I think
one more person.
I think for me, acceptance is a big one. And what I mean by that is that it's okay to accept that sometimes things don't go the way that they're supposed to, and that's okay. And that we just have to learn from that and use that to think of the mindset of what can I do better next time to make sure that we learn from this.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Amazing, amazing. So much wisdom, so much intelligence around this room. Wonderful, wonderful.
And
so, yes.
More than anything, it's that mindset of yours that's going to drive problems, that's going to drive you to understand and to really approach problem with the right mindset, the right angle. But through that also, sometimes some tools can come in handy. And we're always wary when we're giving tools, because giving a tool to someone that they don't know how to use might just end up being heavy in their backpack. So tonight we decided to use one of the very simple tools, but that I've used with social entrepreneurs for many years now. And ironically, often at the end of the training, when I ask, what were your highlights? This is one of the tools that comes back. And the truth is, Mazdak and I debated over a bunch of other tools that are more complex. We had 8 steps for you, and then we said, you know what, we'll keep it simple, and we'll keep it to the problem tree. Before we start explaining or we jump in, I'd be curious, who are familiar with the problem tree? If so, just write I in the chat. No one? A few people are familiar with the problem tree. The concept of the problem tree is very simple. At the core, at the trunk of the tree, you can write whatever problem you are facing. It can be both a personal problem, a family problem, or a problem that you're facing with your Enactus team, such as the problem that you are struggling to recruit team members. Following that, as the tree grows, what you see at the surface, what you see, the leaves of the tree, are what we call, what are all the side effects? What are all the repercussions of the problem? And so, well, actually, I'm not going to give example because we're going to let you give a dab at it later. But it's very simple. It's everything that you can see, or all of the consequences that are related to the problem that you're facing. And at the bottom, under the surface, what you can't really see, but what you need to dig in order to develop genuine solutions are the root causes. What are the root causes of the problem that you're facing? And I want to recognize that a few of you, a handful of you are already familiar with the tool. I invite you to think today, how can you bring that tool back to your team members at your Enactus club and help them adopt and use it both for their Enactus work and for their personal life? And so on that, Mazdak, I'll pass it to you to introduce the first activity related to this tool.
Sure, wonderful. So as our friend Clement mentioned, there are some effects. What we call them are undesirable effects, undesirable things, pain points, okay? I want you to take a few minutes, and with the problem that we have for our case study, jot down on your own time some of these pain points, some of these undesirable effects. Question you will ask yourself, what is not working? Usually when you ask that question to yourself, that's gonna get you some answers. And no solutioning, okay? I had to say it. And yeah, remember to keep it simple, no solutioning, no jumping into conclusions. Okay, let's start from a few of you. Some of the items you can put in a chat box. You can unmute yourself. Let's hear what are some of the undesirable effects that you itemized.
So if we don't have enough people recruited in the team,
the team won't be able to work effectively. Like there won't be enough manpower, and the few who are in the team would be overburdened with some work, whatever they are doing. So it would not be effective at all.
Yeah, so it won't be effective. Some people in the team will be overwhelmed. Okay, great. To this undesirable effect. What else?
One
I
more.
also added, sorry, do you want to go?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I also added that it makes us create less impact because we have less people, and also it makes people less motivated because they don't have others to rely on, which can cause more stress. Well, one thing leads to another, but yeah.
What else?
Stress, less motivation, and less impact.
Beautiful.
Yeah, one thing which I might just quickly add is without being able to recruit members, you're not able to pursue new ideas and to accelerate your existing projects even further.
No new ideas, no acceleration. Wow.
Another one would be the missing skills that you might not be able to acquire through students of different, schools within. So, like coding or like graphics or, those different skills that, maybe you usually have on your team, but then since your recruitment didn't work as well, you end up missing those gaps in your team, and then you have to adapt and figure out how you're going to move forward without, someone who knows how to make really awesome presentation videos.
Yeah. Beautiful. Great job, everyone. So let's mix things a little bit up. So one of the cornerstones of this framework is that you involve people. So let's get some outsider perspective. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna put you in groups of 3, and now you're gonna share these effects, undesirable effects that you have identified. So see, maybe different people saw this from different angles and from different point of views. Maybe a president sees things differently than a marketing person. You guys ready? Are the instructions clear? So you're gonna be in groups of 3 and you're gonna share your perspectives.
I might just add, it would be great if someone in the group can be assigned as a scribe and maybe note down on your computer or something all of the ideas that come back, just so when we come back to the main room, everyone can share those in the chat and we can see all of the root cause and side effects of our problem. And on that, I'm sending you the breakout room invite. You should all receive a little invitation you need to accept. Great, that is completely my fault. I was supposed to program for 5 minutes, but I had created the rooms for 2 minutes and couldn't change it. So how about we go back in the room? Anyone opposed to going back to the room and getting an extra 2 minutes to finish up the conversation? So I'm basically just going to reopen the room. I'm sorry for
to hire people without that skill. So I guess that's the thing you need to consider while recruiting people on that particular group. That would be able to work on the project effectively.
Great. Thanks for sharing, Krishna. And everyone are back from the breakout room. Sorry again for that little break or interruption. I'd be curious for those who were scribing, if you have written down on your computer, I'd be curious for the teams to copy paste in the chat just to see together how many undesirable effects of recruitment we can come up with. I'll give you a minute or so for those who are scribing. And if you forgot to have a scribe in your team, any team member, feel free to write whatever stood out to you from your conversation. Missing deadlines. Creates tension, breakdown in communication, less motivation, You can't distribute tasks equally. Even with reminders, it can be a struggle.
Yeah.
No advertising. I know the irony for a long time, our Enactus club at Sherbrooke University, we were struggling to recruit people for the recruitment team. So it was kind of this paradox, having enough time to adapt, keeping up impacts. So it's great to see not only the quantity, but also the diversity of the thoughts that come up when you team tag and when you share your thoughts with a greater amount of people. Matt, you want us to take us in the next part?
Yeah, I'm also curious to when you had other people coming in, did they mention something that you were like, oh, I never thought about that, or this was, oh, that I never look at it from that angle? If you have any examples.
Yeah, I guess I could chime in with a quick example.
Yeah.
Someone in my group mentioned they're holding an event soon and had the fear of not enough people attending this event if the event's going to be a flop. And that's a side of things I've never really considered.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, okay, we plan these events, people come to it, but it's who is the people actually coming to these events, right? So it's kind of that chain effect as we saw in the video earlier.
Absolutely, absolutely. So one of the beauties of this, when you get other people, get other perspectives, because they see things differently and they're going to help you look at your blind stuff, look at the things that you didn't look at them before. For example, a marketing or event coordinator is going to look at things from a different view. Something that really helps is that you need to create a safe space so that these people can, without fear of any punishment or anything, be able to share their ideas, and their ideas are count, and they're feeling that they are contributing actually. Also, very important that these people are bringing their input and observation and not solutions. We are not at the solution yet. So you bring the people, don't say, oh, I want to solution something with you. I want to ask you for your perspective and ask you for your, the way you observe things. Great, ready? So this was our step 2, which is that problem definition and pain points. That's the trunk of the tree and the leaves of the tree. Now we're gonna go to step 3. We're gonna go to the roots of the tree and uncover possible root causes of the problem. So each of these effects, there is a reason for that. And in order to get into that, we're gonna use a tool that we call it the 5 method or 5 tool. And in our circles, as a joke, we say, why until you cry. So scientifically, it is proven that in order to get to really depth and the root and the reason for why a effect or a problem exists, you need to ask this question at least 5 times. So why is this not working? Oh, because of this. So why is this? And then you continue on asking until at least 5 times, or until at least you cannot go any deeper. Anybody has any examples want to share with us? Anybody has used this tool in the past that want to share with us some real examples?
I have an example.
Wow.
So let's say, like, for instance, you're late for work. So your boss or your employer asks you, why are you late? And then you say it was because of traffic. But then he asks you, why was the traffic late? Well, you can't really say, oh, cars or whatever. It's because you didn't wake up early. Well, why didn't you wake up early? Well, that's because you slept in, or you slept later. Well, why did you sleep so late? It's because you were working on a project or whatever. And then why were you working on it so late? Is because you didn't manage your time properly to work on that project.
Love it. Beautiful. Amazing example.
I was sure you were going to end on a positive note, or on having your boss realize you're overworking, but and a trick, if ever you don't know where to start from, sometimes you can use whatever side effect we've identified earlier. So everything in the chat right now about your communication breakdown, no motivation, and you can challenge the why from all those side effects. it's a way to dig in and find some root cause that we might have not identified otherwise.
Yeah. So if I'm right, Clément, they're going to be the same 3 people, yeah?
To the best of my ability.
Okay. So you're going to be with the same 3 people. Those items, undesirable items that you have identified, pick one of them, ask the why, collectively answer, and again, one person please take notes so that we can bring it back to the big room. Is that clear?
And this time I'm going to be nice to you. I'm going to give you 7 minutes. I won't the 2-minute there. So you can take time to actually get to know each other and introduce yourself before you start digging into each other's problem and root causes. So I'm just opening up the rooms.
Hello, welcome back.
Hello.
Awesome. Do you want to do a quick intro since we didn't have time for that last time?
I think we have everyone. Mazdak, you're
okay. Great, wonderful. Sorry, I was muted. So what some interesting conversation came up in your groups? Let's hear from a few of you.
I could go first if no one else goes. I think that one of the things that came in to our group was that we jump into problems super fast. So one of the things that we jumped into was like the promotional materials are the problems. Like it's like we jumped into it, but we didn't think of the steps before it. So steps are like, isn't it engaging? Is it like created more creatively? Does it define it? Like, is the website updated? Is the social media presence like engaging with the students? I think, yeah, jumping into problems was the issue.
Or solutioning, yeah, that's human nature. That's human nature.
A reoccurring issue that our group and every route that we took a hold of kept coming back to lack of communication. That it wasn't effectively boiling down, slowing down, having those conversations about why we value this particular way, or what other ideas are necessary to have things to continue flowing.
Yeah, we had something similar. So we started with not having enough motivation and incentive for people to join, and from there we go to not enough reach out or proper marketing and stuff, and there we branched out, like why people are not enough people are not connecting via social media or why there's not enough promotion. Maybe there are budget issues or things like that.
Yeah. Beautiful. Let's hear a couple of more.
So like it's just basically input was like for us is just basically it was about communication. So it's like basically the other college or like universities was like we were lacking communication, and that was one of our bigger issues was communication and giving some compassion and some motivation. But the most important was communication, but with adding with compassion and also motivation, that is where people could start to latch on in a way, and also like start to believe, and also maybe have a choice to actually join
I'm hearing
in a group.
I'm hearing a
That's
couple
what
of
it is.
people talking about lack of communication, but
Yeah.
I'm curious, why lack of communication?
Okay.
Pick another one.
Part of the way we because we brought up overworked team members, and a big thing that came up was lack of boundaries, communicating that not only externally but internally, establishing this is my role, this is what I have to get done, and not spreading myself too thin is also a major catalyst for a lot of frustration for teams.
Beautiful. Let's hear from one more.
Well, I think that now maybe because we don't have members that from last year that were really active, I feel like I'm the only one. So I don't know if I'm the only one. I'm afraid to find out that I'm the only one. So I think it is not clear, the message of what Enactus is. And I feel that we have to show more. We have to, like, I was not joking. We do need to advertise and make clear that we can make real projects. We are not only community service, but we are entrepreneurs. We are leaders. And it's not clear. We have to show this. It's so nice to see the nationals when everybody's like, doing the competition and things, but we are talking about leadership. And where is it? How can we show that? How can we spread this feeling? We are so many leaders. So where is it? And I feel like I'm not going to carry this. And I was like, first time I was thinking, I'm not going to carry this because I'm going to talk to people, but it's just too much. So I think advertising and really expressing what is the real Enactus.
Yeah. And for each of these pains, and I'm feeling those pains with you, ask those whys, at least 5 of it. For each of them, ask the why.
One thing that our group came up with is that people are afraid of judgment.
Okay.
Yeah, so if they are
Why?
if they are
That's the
thinking of
why.
joining the group, yeah,
Okay.
it might be because they lack the self-confidence, or might be the environment they are in right now, like the friend circle you have, it's not encouraging you, or they are pulling you down, like things like that.
Ask the why. Ask the why until you cry. So do you guys get it? Yeah, wonderful. Good. So let's move on. So what's next for us is, how are we able to combine what we learned today? There's those 3 steps of checking on the mindset, defining the problem and the undesirable effects, and getting to root causes of the issues, with the real world issues that we have, problems that we have, and can do it on a daily basis and do it iteratively. Do it, I try it, it works, great. I try it, it doesn't work, I adjust. I test, it worked, great. I test it, it doesn't work, I adjust, I learn from that. So it's constantly having that reframing mindset in you, that you're always trying to reframe the problem, reshape the problem, falling in love with the problem, finding the root causes, you having that instinct that ask those questions, those whys, and never forget to observe and include people, and do it constantly. Make it a habit. Thomas Edison said the real measure of success is the number of experiments you can do within 24 hours. So don't wait for all the stars to be aligned. Go test it, ask it, and try it, and readjust it. Fail and learn from that growth mindset we talked about yesterday. For those of you who were there, get that feedback, use that feedback, okay? And always ask, what is missing? What is not there? What else can I do? Remember, you cannot figure out things if you're sitting in your little bubbles and little room. You need to get out there. You need to talk to people. You need to observe people. You need to get out there and see them firsthand. Okay, good. So now that we are all good with the reframing of the problems, we can now relax and actually do some problem solving. So remember, Einstein said 55 minutes defining the problem. That was what we did. Now we're gonna get 5 minutes to get some problem solving going. So some of the steps we take in problem solving, and it's very important, is to do some brainstorming. So get relevant people, get the right type of people in the spirit of openness and idea generation and creativity. Generate some of these ideas. Game storming is a methodology that uses games in order to do brainstorming. Google it, amazing games and ideas and activities that you can use for your brainstorming session. Again, never forget that iterative approach. Put it in place, validate it, identify what are the obstacles that get in your way, and adjust. List the actions. Okay, I need to talk to this person. This thing needs to be there. Put some timelines around that and repeat. Brainstorm, iterate, actions, adjust, repeat. Okay, on that note, we're gonna give you a few minutes. Clément, is that 5 or 7 minutes we're gonna have?
Well, if we look at what Einstein said, he said that you spend 55 minutes with the problem, 5 minutes with the solution. So in our ratio here, I think we're more at about 4 minutes for problem solving.
Okay, so is that gonna be the same group of people?
Yeah, I'm sending you with the same group. This time your challenge is to finally generate as many creative, crazy, far-fetched ideas that you can have to tackle the challenge. And you'll have actually 3-minute top chrono, because we generate ideas better under pressure, to generate as many ideas as you can. And we'll come back to the group and you'll get to share a couple of those funky, far-fetched, cool ideas that you've had. Final debrief. So we're just going to wait as people are trickling in. So I believe we have everyone. I would be curious to hear from every team one idea, some of the thoughts that stood out. I'd love to hear a couple of voices, and feel free also to write the ideas that stood out to you in the chat.
I'm good to share. So like, I guess in our group, we were kind of focusing on like how to get people to take on like a bigger workload and like take more initiative for tasks and things like that. So one of the people mentioned was like really getting to know who you work with, so doing like more team building like exercises. And then another one was like having more of an incentive like reward system. So say like if you wanted like 50 attendees to your event, like if everyone markets it well and you reach that goal, like you all go out to dinner or something to celebrate.
Interesting. Incentives. Incentives are a great idea. Might be applicable for many of you too. Other people who had ideas or things that stood out from your brainstorm?
I think one thing that stood out, oops.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think the one thing that stood out was cross promotion. So like we could have like promotion from other clubs and like combine it with ours, and then we could have like their group of students and with ours, and then we could have more broader student base, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Reaching new diffusion channels. Divya, did you want to share too?
Yeah, so we were talking about the lack of communication, and we thought that webinars or conducting seminars before recruiting would be a great idea to reach out to people and tell them what Enactus is all about, and showing them what motivates us to work here and what are the different opportunities we have at here. So things like that, they will motivate people, and a good presentation would be a good way to communicate with them.
Great. So many diverse. What was really interesting tonight was to see that people came in from different angles when they identified the root causes of the problem. And by doing so with different people, different perspective, we're also getting to all of these different solutions. So for sake of time, we still have one tool we want to run you through. And so I'm going to invite everyone to keep sharing whatever solution came up they might want to share with the Enactus network in the chat. And meanwhile, for our final debrief, we're going to use another little tool that's called Miro. Some of you might be familiar, but Miro is a wonderful collaborative platform. It's kind of this whiteboard, but for online meetings that you can jazz up your meetings, make them much more interactive. And so I'm just going to do a quick screen share here. Can I have a thumbs up if you can see my screen? Great. So welcome to Miro. Miro is a collaborative whiteboard platform that you can play around and do a bunch of really cool stuff.
We can see it.
All right.
Don't see it.
Thumbs up if you can see my screen now.
Yes.
Oh, now I see it.
Cool. So Miro is this cool white space where you can do just about anything. lots of people I know at first were like, no, it's not like a whiteboard. I can't write on it. I don't like it. And then 2 months later, they're saying this is the best tool in the world because contrarily to a whiteboard, you don't need to erase it at the end every time. And basically, you'll find options here on the side where you can add post-its from any color. You can add text. You can add an index box. There's also some pre-made boards that you can explore for different ideation activity. There's 1,000 opportunities with Miro. So I'm basically going to share in the chat the access link to this board. If all goes right, you're all going to be able to join in and have some fun playing on Miro. And one of the cool things about Miro is that they offer a free trial for people who work in education. So if you say that your Enactus club is affiliated to your university, you can probably get a free access so that you can create your own boards. And so I've just shared the link in the chat. Hopefully you can all join in. And the first step, I'll invite you just for a minute or so to just explore, and everyone try to add a post-it and whatever you want on that post-it. Anything is welcome, just so you can explore a little bit the board. So I want to see as many colorful post-its appear on our screen. And if you're having struggle joining the Miro, just let me know. And so we're going to use, oh, cool. I'm seeing the tiny post-its appearing here. I was wondering why they're not there. If you need, I'll invite you to maybe zoom out so you get the full board. You can look at where I am on my screen. And basically for the final debrief, it's going to be very, very simple. I will place a question in each of the post-its, and I'm going to give you 1 minute so that as many of you place post-it to answer whatever question I've just wrote. So the first question is, when and where could you apply problem reframing? So the question is in the first box. I invite all of you to write post-its in that first quadrant here on when and where could you apply problem reframing. I'm seeing some people, lots of ideas coming up. I see some people still exploring the platform. If you have any issues in the platform, feel free to write it in the chat or to add your ideas. So for those who already wrote something in the first box, I'm going to invite you, moving on to the second box, to add post-its to answer the question, how could you bring back the concept that you've learned throughout the Leadership Summit to your team? And I realize that this might be a hard question, but we truly believe that you are all leaders and everything you learn with us are things that you'll bring to your team. And so how can you bring those things back to your team? Feel free to put on as many post-its as you want on the Miro. Cool. And last but not least, in the last box, I'm going to invite you all to write, what are you taking away from the summit? So it can be from tonight. For those who were there yesterday, it can be from yesterday. But we'll take a final minute just to think about what are you taking away and what are you bringing back to your Enactus Club from the summit? Shoot for the moon. I love it. Fall in love with the problems as much as you do with the solution. Yes, growth mindset, something super key that we've touched upon yesterday that we can all improve. And yeah, the Myros always get a little crazy and a little hectic with big teams, but I always say that the best ideas come out of chaos. So we got to dare putting those out. And if we'd have more time, we'd sort through the ideas. But for now, feel free to just pitch in as many ideas as you want as we say the closing words. So I'll pass it on first to Mazda.
Wonderful. So feel free to add to your board as well. Just a quick recap. In order for our project to be success, we need to ourselves take the mindful mindset of success. What we talked about yesterday around the growth mindset, conscious mindset, inner leader, but also in today about falling in love with your problem, not with your solution. And always remember, you are already naturally creative, whole, and resourceful. You are resilient. Once you connect to your inner leader, nothing can stop you, and you can create that positive impact that you want to see in this world.
And so now you've got a few more tools with the problem tree with Miro that are in your toolkit. So you've got everything for success, but you already had it all. So keep being intentional leaders, keep thinking about how you can bring this energy back to your team and create a ripple effect within your team. And I think from the comments in the chat, I think a few of you like meeting people from the other Enactus team from across Canada. Well, another opportunity we're going to share. Catherine, do you have the link?
Yes, it's loading right now on my computer.
So Catherine is going to share in the chat a buddy sign up form. For any of you who would love to meet other folks from across the country, you can sign up on the form and we'll basically assign you to another person in the Enactus network who might be sharing similar goals, similar teams. And Catherine is going to basically send you an email to connect you. And afterward, what we suggest you do is a walk and talk. For those who don't know walk and talk, it's very simple. It's a phone call where you go on a walk at the same time and you walk around the block and have a great chat about how you're each respectively changing the world or whatsoever you want to chat about. So Catherine is going to share the link in this screen. I strongly suggest all of you to seize the opportunity because the truth, especially in these days, it's not often that we get a chance to meet folks from across the country. So thank you, Catherine. Thank you to all of you for your time, for your presence. Mazdak, incredible job leading the workshop tonight. And I'll pass it on to Catherine for the final closing words.
So I think first of all, I want to say a big thank you to Claymon and Mazdak. These last 2 days were absolutely incredible. And I hope you all got so much out of this and learned so much that you can take back to your team and just feel so energized and excited for the year ahead. So thank you again, Claymon and Mazdak. That was awesome. Also, I hope you're all so excited for tomorrow or Friday. We have our final session of Collaboration Summit. It is a quick training from myself and my fellow program managers, just about some stuff for the year ahead. And then we break out into your favorite thing ever, best practice sharing, which is really long or longer breakout sessions where you get to talk about all of the different problems or ideas and everything you're having with your team with people from across the country. So I really encourage you to make sure you come and bring anyone from your team who wants to join. If you have any questions or someone didn't register, feel free to shoot an email to your program manager. If not, we are so excited to see you on Friday. And thank you again to Claymon and Mazdak.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone. Keep it up and keep the Enactus spirit.
Awesome. Thank you.